overpronate, or if you overpronate is a common term for runners. It just means that their feet fall inward like that. Like they fall inward that way. But also plantar fasciitis is inflammation of the tissue that's on the bottom of your foot. So this can help with that because it's helping to release that tissue. Okay, so now you can stop. So hopefully that felt kind of good. Like a little massage for your feet. So now if you try and reach for your toes, just see if it feels any looser. Like maybe you can get even a little lower, or maybe it feels a little looser in there. A little bit. A little bit? Okay. Well, good. So that's just the demo of how rolling out the bottom of your foot can affect the muscles all the way up here. So just kind of an example of how it's all connected. So that was just your visual assessment of how your toes are pointing. So other clues as to being an overpronator, like you said, Jesse, bunions.
Is that on there?
Yep, right there. And the wearing of the inside edge of your shoes, duck-footed walking, which is my husband, which is why I'm sure that he has those very tight hamstrings, and plantar fasciitis. So the implications of being an overpronator are arch pain. Do you have any pain in the bottom of your foot?
I've been lucky, I haven't.
Okay. Knee pain?
Not yet.
Okay. Hip? Low back?
I've had a band of pain here before.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm not saying that these have to be the causes of being an overpronator. It's just possible that all those pains and all those various structures can result just from what's going on at the feet and ankles. All right, good. So that's one assessment for the feet and ankles. Common imbalances in the lumbopelvic hip complex. So that just means your lumbar spine and then your hips, pelvis. Something that's very common is anterior pelvic tilt. So anterior pelvic tilt, which I have, you can probably see because just so if you're looking at my waistband, how it's further down in the front, it's because my pelvis is tilted forward like that. Okay? If I were neutral, which is very hard for me to get into, is it straighter now? Okay. So yeah, so if your pelvis is too tilted forward, that's to the front anterior. So anterior pelvic tilt is very common. All right, so visual assessment, you guys just looked at me. You can, just looking sideways, kind of see where that belt naturally lays, and I'm always pulling mine up. But yeah, if it's not like just straight across, it could be a sign that the butt is sticking out too much. All right, so the assessment. Now all of you can do this. So head to the wall, and you're going to put your back, butt, and heels against the wall. So now if you're already uncomfortable in your lower back, it's probably not a good sign. But, all right, so what I'm looking for here is how much hand you can get behind your lower back. So go ahead and stick your hand behind your lower back. Jessie can get her entire hand behind her back. You can actually just take it out. Yeah, so if she's standing with her head and everything goes back against the wall, you can fit, I'll do it. If you can, I have my watch on. But if you can fit an entire hand through there, then you've got that excess curve going on in there, and that's anterior pelvic tilt. So tight hip flexors is an implication. Lower back pain, again, because your lumbar spine is getting pulled excessively. Shoulder blade pain and neck pain can all result from anterior pelvic tilt. So common imbalances in the thoracic spine, which is the middle of your back, and then your shoulder blades. The most common thing is the excessive rounding, which is what senior citizens get, this kind of posture. And that rounding is in your thoracic spine, so all in through there. All right. And internally rotated arms. So if you guys just put your arms down, kind of right down beside you, hanging where they naturally would. Again, me and you are like the worst ones. What I'm looking for is, if you look at Jessie's hands, you can kind of see the backs of her hands pretty good if you're looking at her straight on. So that just means that at the shoulder joint, the arms are rotated inward like that. Donna, yours are nice and straight down. So implications of that just means that you can get low back pain from that, shoulder pain, neck pain, and breathing restrictions, because the more forward that your torso is, the more your ribs have to or get collapsed and pressured on. So you just like may find that you just don't get to take deep breaths if you have that kind of posture, if you're always crushed down onto your rib cage. Of course, there is an assessment for it. So, Lori, let me do you. Just put the paper down. Okay. And you're just going to look straight ahead. Okay. Now what we're looking for this assessment is, I'm going to be kind of touching up in this area. So we go right below, we find the little bony part of her spine, and we go right below it, and then we find her sternal notch right here. Okay, and my fingers actually should be at even height.
Does that mean I'm like tilting my head all the time?
I would say maybe an inch.
Or does it just mean that's the way I was born?
No, it means that this is how your body has adapted over the years.
Should it be even?
Poor posture. Yeah, those are just like the very common problems structurally that go on in the body that can result in any of those pains. Because as the thing says, the bad news is that everything is connected, which I showed you with the skeleton. So usually if you have problems in one area of the body, you're going to find problems in other parts of the body because it is all connected. It's very rare that you'll just find, and I'm not surprised that you guys were okay. When we started with the feet, you guys were pretty okay for the rest of the chain because you didn't have problems with the feet, so.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the bad news. However, the good news is we can start to work on these structural issues. So we're going to go back to the feet. So we did the tennis ball roll under the bottom of the foot, and that is helping to release that fascia that's in the bottom of your foot, and that'll help alleviate plantar fasciitis, and it'll also help to stop the overpronation. You can actually stretch on it and not just kill yourself with balance. Okay, so you do need the wall for balance, and then you're just going to let that heel hang down.
I used to do that on the steps all the time to make my sprained ankle.
The nice thing about the Bosu is that you can kind of get a little rolling action in there so that you're getting all angles of that calf, because the muscles, run actually all the way out here. So for like little areas of your body, you want the tennis ball, and for bigger muscular groups, you'll use the foam roller. So you guys are going to come down onto your stomach, and you're going to put the foam roller kind of right below your hip joint on the front of your thigh. On just one side.
On just one side?
Just one side.
Yep, do that.
Now you're just going to kind of walk yourself out. It's not exactly pretty, but it's to roll down your thigh just to above your knee joint, and then right back up. If you don't have pain in these areas, you may find those little knots, and over time if they build up, then that can lead to problems. So working them out is to do that. Okay, so now we have the tennis ball on the butt. Oh, did I tell you that rolling out the quadriceps helps with the anterior pelvic tilt? That's the reasoning behind that one. Okay, so tennis ball on the butt. I'll go. Okay, so you're just going to stick it under one cheek, and then that foot is going to cross over the other.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen.
We'll just kind of go like this. So yeah, so if you're not like already on a spot, then kind of just wiggle around till you find like a tender spot there. So now if you know people that have sciatica, this could be a good one for that, because there's a muscle that's deep in there called the piriformis that tends to get irritated, and that's what presses on the sciatic nerve. And if you can work out that irritation with the tennis ball, then it may help. So 2 tennis balls on the broad line, and then you're actually going to put you're going to lay back, and then you're going to put your head on the foam roller. Out. And if you need more intensity, there we go. If you need more intensity, you can cross your hands over your chest. More intensity from there, you're going to push that small curve in your lower back down into the floor. So you'll actually posterior tell your pelvis. Now these are to relax those muscles that cause the excessive rounding.
This must be about sitting at the computer too long.
Definitely. Yep, definitely. So hopefully, is it releasing? Going away? Okay. Then you can just adjust and see if you can find another one. But usually they're kind of close together. They wouldn't be too spread apart. Okay, now the hip flexor stretch. And again, this is the hip flexor stretch is working to release tight hip flexors. So, like for me, and you guys can do this after I show you real quick on the mat. So you want to take the staggered kneeling position, and then you want to tuck your tailbone under. You go like that to your pelvis, and it should put it on stretch almost immediately. But if you needed extra intensity, you would take that arm up. Okay, relax. All right, and the last one we have is actually a stretch, but you're gonna lay on your back. And then just bring your knees into your chest. We did this one in the cool down Donna, but you're gonna put your arms at shoulder height. Okay, and then knees are just bent 90 degrees, and then you're gonna drop them over to one side together. And to the other side.